Hello and welcome to The Lion Show. I'm your host, your favorite business coach, Robert Lyon. Today, we have the great pleasure of talking to Divian Mistry, and he is a serial entrepreneur, a marketing strategist, an expert with coaches, online educators, just business in general. And he has a really cool brand about automating your business and saving you from headaches and just the stress of it all. So, Divian, why don't you introduce yourself and kind of tell everybody who you are and what you're up to?
Thank you so much, Robert. I'm so excited to be on here. I'm really excited to share with you what I have to offer. And so, yeah, hi, my name is Divian, and I basically help people who are coaches and digital course creators to automate their marketing, their sales, their everything to do with automating their business. And really, it comes down to three things. First is creating more freedom. Second is creating more authority. And third, of course, is creating more profit in your business. So that's what I do.
That's so dope. So I was trying to, on your Facebook page, it says there's 6 things that you can automate. And I was trying to think of what all 6 would be, but I got you here now. So what are the 6 things that you help people automate or that you can automate?
Cool. So they're actually kind of like, although I said 6 things, they're kind of 6 categories because there's multiple things within each category that you can automate. You kind of got to pick which ones work for you. So the very first thing is your get to know me or indoctrination sequence. So your when people first come across you, it's like, who are you? They don't care about anything else really. They want you to add value and get to know who you are. Otherwise, they're not going to buy ultimately. And so it's all about creating that relationship with people. So I'll just do a quick overview. And the second one is marketing and sales, which is obviously super important to every single business. And it comes second on purpose because people buy from people they know, like, and trust, even if the product is inferior. Not saying anybody's product is, but even if someone's product is inferior, they will still buy from people they know, like, and trust. So it's important to build that before you start selling to them. And thirdly is your onboarding or delivery. Of course, we want to automate that, so we're not spending loads of time delivering our programs, our courses, our services. We want to automate that as much as possible. And particularly for service providers, if you're a service provider, onboarding and delivery is a massive time drain for you. Yeah. Massive time drain. The fourth one is feedback and innovation. I believe it was Peter Drucker who said you should spend the only profit centers you have in your, paraphrasing now, only profit centers you have in your business are marketing and innovation. Everything else is an expense. And so it's important to get that feedback and to be able to innovate. And there's several different ways we could do that. And then the fifth is one which, often gets left on the side burner. I can hold my hands up and say I've often left this on the side burner, is testimonials and case studies. And they are so powerful in helping you to sell your programs and sell your services and sell your offerings. That they basically do a lot of the selling for you. And the sixth category, once you're ready, referrals and affiliates, is how to get them in, how to manage that, how to put the systems in place to not create a bigger headache. Because you want to grow, but you don't want to put a load of resource into then, well, who came from where and how much do we pay who, and all this kind of crazy stuff that can happen, especially when you have a business with multiple products and stuff in it. So that's a quick overview of the 6.
Yeah, well, I already love the way you think, because just thinking about all 6 of these things, you totally can automate them. And they're all so important. And so many business owners want more freedom. They want more time. So yeah, I'm super excited just to see this kind of all come to fruition for any business owner out there that wants to automate and, have less of a headache. I think that's fantastic. But I kind of want to ask you, when did you get started? What's your story? When did you get the marketing bug, or kind of how did that all come to be?
Thanks. Great question, Robert. So I actually I got the bug to be in business very early in my life. I'd say probably, I remember when I was 15 years old, I didn't have a weekend job like a lot of my friends did. And so I saw this thing come through the post, and it was like a mail order catalog, and it said work from home. And I went to my mom. I was like, can I do this? So we rang them up and I started then. I mean, that wasn't specifically marketing, but that was my bug to get into business, and we did. And I earned a lot more than I would have earned in that 3 months over that summer period than doing a job, and had a lot more free time than my friends. But in terms of marketing, I had a business where I invested in property with a very specific strategy. And then a couple of years after I'd been successful, I started teaching people how to do this. And we went from, a few hundred people on our list to 2,000 or 3,000 on our list within 6 months, and making sales and started running mastermind groups and online courses. And that's when I really got the bug for marketing, and specifically automated marketing, because I love the idea of I can press a button and I can get this campaign to run that I've created once, and then it will make sales for me. And I don't have to physically be there. I can be doing whatever I want to do, and I can be making sales over and over again with this one bit of effort multiply.
Yeah, that's so awesome. You have any tips for focusing to create the automation? Because I'm somebody who just is like full steam ahead. Let's just get sales. Let's just start doing. And then I kind of put the automation on the back burner, or I gotta hire someone to do it. So and I talk to a lot of business owners and a lot of business coaches, and they all need help. Or they would just be so much happier if it was already in place before their business kind of like was in full steam, because it kind of slows them down. So just kind of, do you have any tips on like focusing on that first?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So first, I would say it depends on the type of person you are. Right. So there are some people out there who are who just really don't like technology and don't like use it. They want to make sure they love what they do, but they just don't want to figure this stuff out. In which case, literally just hire somebody. It's probably the easiest way of doing it. However, if you are someone who wants to do it yourself, the easiest way to get started is break it down. Break it down into, what am I struggling with right now? And that very much depends on what stage of business you're at. So, for example, if I'm somebody who's got an established business, the chances are that I'm probably going to want to automate most of the time, you're probably somebody who's going to need to automate your onboarding more so than your sales or marketing, especially if you're a few years down the line, because you're probably good at selling, right? And that's probably where you want to start, is the automation of the onboarding, because you're good at selling. You love that interaction. You love selling. You can get the sales. You can grow your audience. But the biggest problem you've got is probably onboarding and delivery. That's a lot of clients come to me at that stage where they've grown a business, but now they're like, Divian, I have no time. What do? I have no time. Well, start with automating this bit here, because what you're doing over here works. Your sales are working. Don't stop doing that. Don't change that. Go and change this bit so you can automate that. So really, wherever you're at, it's about breaking it down to the smallest possible thing. So the way I did it is I said, okay, well, I need, when I started Headache Free Automations, is I needed a lead magnet. So how do I do that? Well, I need an opt-in page. Let's create the opt-in page. So I just literally create the opt-in page and the thank you page, and then linked it to my autoresponder. And my goal was just write the first welcome email. Yeah, and that's it. I created something super simple that says exactly what it does. No frills, nothing. You've seen it. You've seen the page, and it's literally just exactly what the lead magnet is, and a button to get it, and a thank you page, and then one email that says, "Thanks for downloading it. Here's the link." And that's it. I just started with that, and then extend that. Once you've done that, then worry about the next bit. Then worry about, well, what happens after that. So pick one thing, the biggest problem you've got in your business, and automate that one thing. Because when you alleviate that, you get more into flow. And when you're in flow, you can make more magic happen, which is what business is really all about.
I love it. And I think everybody should go check out how simple his opt-in page is, because as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, I want that. It's just like no fluff. It works. But I want to know kind of how do you automate your outreach or your onboarding? What advice or what tips do you have to do that?
Okay, so outreach and so your onboarding, how do you automate that? There's several ways you can do it. So in the download, it breaks it down even more. So if you want it more in depth than that, you can get that. But also, there's a few ways. So often, for example, people who are coaches, what they often do is they often deliver their whole programs live. So one of the very first things you can do is go, well, what parts of this program do I continue to repeat over and over again? Whether you're doing one-to-one or one-to-many, doesn't really matter. What parts of what I'm saying do I keep saying to clients over and over and over again, that I could just pre-record myself saying it, put it into a system, and then say to them, go and watch video number 3.
Right.
And they can go and watch video number 3, and you say to them, hey, before we next speak, go and watch video number 3, and you can get this information. Now you can go a step further than that, and you can be like, okay, so in what sequence do people find these problems come up in our conversations? So now you put the videos in that sequence, and you create an automatic drip feed of emails that go out and say, go and watch video number 2, go and watch video number 3, go and watch, in the sequence in which it's likely to occur. Or if you have a program where you teach in a certain order, then it's really easy. You just go and take that, I say it's easy. It's obviously not easy. It's simple. It's not easy. But you put that into a membership site, and then you can either give them access to everything, or you can drip feed the access one little bit at a time. So that's kind of one way of doing it. But the other way is like, well, what about onboarding? Specifically onboarding. If someone signs up to your program, how do you specifically onboard them? And onboarding is slightly different to that. It's making sure everybody has everything that they need, making sure they've checked in with everything. And the onboarding is where a lot of time can be lost, especially if you've got bigger programs. I've worked with many people who've got 6 and 7 figure businesses, multiple 7-figure businesses. And the biggest time drain is when you get to that level and you've got, say, 30, 50, 100, 200 people enrolling into your program all at the same time. Well, now each one of them are going to have different levels of understanding of technology, different levels of understanding of information. Some might receive emails, some might not, some might check them, some might, etc., etc., etc. And so how do we automate this? Well, we can have onboarding calls where you get them to book in your diary. You have automated emails that go out. There could be text messages that go out. You can put these people into lists for your onboarding team to give them a call. So there's a sequence of, here's the people you need to call John. Here's the people you need to call Sarah. And there's a system to it. So that, because the biggest amount of time that's lost is when people are communicating with people within a business and passing information back and forth when they don't need to be.
Yeah.
And I'll just give you a really quick example of this. A couple of years ago, I ran quite a big event, a charitable event, and there was 250 people coming. In previous years, people had organized this. They used, very simply used Eventbrite for tickets. And then when someone would buy, they'll manually put them into this spreadsheet. They'll email them saying, you can choose from these 3 activities. What activity do you want to do? Do you need accommodation? Do you have any food, stuff around food that you need, etc., etc.? And are you coming with anybody? If you want to stay, is there particular people you want to stay? And all these questions that we needed to ask. And it was always done manually. And I put a system in place that took that information from Eventbrite, put it into a spreadsheet, calculated exactly how many people could do each activity. So if it was already allocated, sorry, you're ticket number 152. So now there's no spaces left in activity A. You're going to have to choose from B or C, and put it all into this spreadsheet, split people out into different groups and stuff. And I automated the whole thing. And I cannot tell you, when you organize an event with 250 people over 3 days, how much time that saves.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much time that it saves. Especially, the worst thing is the lead up to the event. You don't want to be sitting there doing admin. You don't want to hire someone sitting there just doing admin. You want that automated. You want that coming in automated, so you know exactly what's happening with who, and then you can focus on the important stuff, which is selling.
Yeah.
Selling and innovating.
Totally. So, I mean, from what I'm hearing, is we're really automating a lot of CRM, right? And just kind of having our emails in a function. So for my coaching program, my bribe essentially is I have a free course, right? So they opt in, they get the free course, I get their email and their contact information. And then I kind of have onboarding email sequences that kind of tell them what's up. And then in every video in the course underneath, I have like schedule a call, right? And then so once they schedule a call with me, we book a call, I get on a discovery call, and then I sell my coaching packages basically to them. And then what I don't have, though, that seems really interesting is getting the testimonials, getting the feedback. So that's just basically also another mechanism in the machine of your CRM, right? So once somebody's in the program, you want to keep up that part of the deal. So that's something that I haven't really thought about, but I love just like talking about that. So, and it's almost more important. That's what the CRM is. It's like customer relationship management, right? You're supposed to be able to keep that relationship going. So yeah, I guess I just think it's a great way to do it. Do you have any other?
Here's an important thing about the feedback innovation part of it, and the case studies and testimonials is let you can easily go through a program and feel really good about what you've done, or you could go through a program and be like, cool, I went through the program. But
Yeah.
one thing that really solidifies your experience is you sharing how well you've done. And people love doing this. People love sharing how well they've done or what they've done or the changes that have occurred. They love it. They
Yeah.
love that energy. And what it does for them, it solidifies, I made progress.
Yeah.
So actually, when they know, especially with a testimonial case study, when they say I made progress, guess what? They're more likely to come back and buy more stuff from you because
Yeah.
they're like, I can see on paper I've made progress. I'm not left to my own accord to consider have I made progress. I've now said that to the world. And that person, say someone comes on your course, Robert, like you put that out to the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever, you tag them and they're like, oh, I was tagged by Robert. This is me.
Yeah.
Now I absolutely love Robert even more because he
Mm.
shared my testimonial and not somebody else's.
Right. Building that relationship even more, getting a little deeper. That's really cool. So then my thoughts on actually getting people into my funnel that I've been looking at is I drip feed on Twitter, Instagram, and then kind of with the podcast and the YouTube as well. So then I have them coming out constantly, putting out content, driving traffic to the funnel. Do you have any other cool ways that you think you could automate? Really, just I don't know if it's content marketing. I guess running Facebook ads is the same thing as automating in a way, to drive people to your funnel. But what are your thoughts on that?
So I've always been somebody who finds the shortest route to the best result, and so I can't add anything in terms of drip feeding content. That's an awesome way of getting people in. But what I can add to this is how many times have you taken a piece of content that you knew did well and reposted it?
Uh, well, I try and do it for all these shows, but it gets overwhelming because I have so much content nowadays. But yeah, I could almost hire a full team of people to go back through all the content and repost it and redo it. So that's a great idea.
Yeah, so what most people do, especially with content, is they overcomplicate it. They go, I've got to constantly produce more content. And look, I'm sitting and going, I've done this. So
Yeah.
I'm not exempt from this. But I know that, this, for example, this podcast interview,
Yeah.
if we wanted to, we could split this up into many, 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 many segments of content in audio format. We're here on Zoom while we're recording it, so we could take the video content and split them into many bits.
Yeah.
We could transcribe that into written and split that into many bits. And then we could take all them bits and post them on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and wherever else. And you could take quotes and turn them into quotes. And you take big sections and small sections and medium sections. And one of the things that I found is people often buy into this idea that we've got to, as coaches, as people, course creators, coaches, online entrepreneurs, that we have to become publishers, that we have to be creating content. Now, don't get me wrong, creating content is great. It's not that, and I think everybody should do it. But we can easily get consumed by constantly feeling the need to create new content all the time. And actually, if you observe, the most successful people out there have one presentation, one thing that they talk about, and all they do is just take that same stuff and talk about it over and over and over again, but in just slightly different ways.
Totally.
And so that's what I'd say. If you're somebody who wants to, because I'm all about leverage. If you want to leverage your content, then find lots of ways of saying the same thing so it resonates for different people.
Yeah, no, I love it. This is one of my mentors. I'm trapped in the content monster, just to be totally blatant. Like I started the podcast before I started coaching. So now it's just like this ongoing crank of trying to be everywhere. And it's totally maddening. Makes no sense, but it's kind of working. So I keep doing it. But one of my mentors told me have, like one follow-up, one ad, one funnel, one follow-up. And that's all you have to do, and one follow, like one ending. So he makes it so simple. And when he said it to me, it was like such a epiphany. And then I immediately forgot it and just kept doing what I'm doing. So I think more and more hearing it is more important. So come up with something that works and then do it. Yeah. I love it. I think that's so good. So you're all about whenever your other business was going, you would use networking a lot. Have you gotten a lot of experience or found good ways to network?
So
business.
I think this is why I'm not a prolific poster like you are, content producer like you are, but I am a prolific networker. I love networking. Um, and I wouldn't be on this podcast had I not networked and someone told me about the group that I'm in, and then you posted, and then we connected, and now I'm on this podcast. If I didn't network, I wouldn't have known about it.
Yeah.
And so for me, networking is prolific. One of the ways, one of the strategies that I use, I kind of call it the Spiderweb Strategy. And it's an awesome strategy because what it allows you to do is create connections, help them connections, and then without even pitching them, get them to want to help you. And I can't tell you how many people have started to get into my network this way and continue this way and help me over the years. And this is how I've grown my business, basically. My previous business, this business, every business I've run, I've grown it like this. And networking is one of the best ways, because here's the thing, right? Is you never know when you're going to come across somebody who's going to enable you to all of a sudden pivot, have a needle moving moment in your business, big time.
Yeah.
You don't know when you can do that. And I think that networking is one of the most powerful things you can do in your business. I have a client who joint ventured with a very well-known person in the coaching industry. I don't have the privilege of sharing their name, but you'd know who they are if I shared it. But this person spent my client. I mentioned my client, Matthew Kimberly. He spent 12 years developing this relationship with this particular client. And we built an automated well, first it was a live webinar, then it was an automated webinar. And in the live webinar, he joint ventured with this person, and they made, spent a number of years building this relationship. I said 12, I meant 6. It was 6 years, 6.5 years he spent building this relationship. And then when he went in for the ask, the person said, yeah, of course I'll do a webinar with you. They made $90,000 of sales in 90 minutes.
Damn.
And the whole thing I built for them, automated it, and all the back end was already automated as an online course. Everything was automated. They split that 50-50, 45 grand each.
Yeah.
That's the power of networking.
That's
and so
cool.
For me, networking is essential. You've got to do that, because you never know when you're going to meet that person that completely changes the game for you.
Did you say that you meet people and then you see how they can help you? Is that what you said?
I meet people and then I just add as much value as I can to them. And then I don't ask them for anything, but I ask a question. I always ask a question that leads them, which is me helping them question, but that leads them to ask the same question back to me and gets me what I want. And I'm not doing this manipulatively. It's not a manipulative question.
Yeah.
There's nothing magical about it. It's not like this, secret sauce that nobody ever knows or nobody could ever guess. I simply ask them at the end of each conversation, is there anybody I can put you in contact with, or any way I can help you?
Love it.
They always feel, if they don't have anybody, they'll be like, well, not right now, but it's useful to know that I can come to you.
Yeah.
How about you, Divian? Or they go, yeah, do you know someone who does this? I know someone who does that. As soon as we're off this call, I'll connect you guys. What about you, Divian? Is there any way I can help you? Killer question.
So killer, dude. So killer. I'm kind of geeking out about it, or just thinking about it. So is there anybody that I can put you in contact with? Is there any way I can help you? It's so simple, but I see the power. That's all I'm saying. I see the power of that. So
I would say probably a maximum of 10 to 20% of people don't ask the question back to me. Most of the time, 80 to 90% of people ask that question right back at me.
Yeah.
And probably 50% of the time, they will try and put me in contact with somebody who can help me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's networking. That's the magic of networking, man. My 2021 goal is just all about collaboration. I've kind of realized in almost all business ventures, it's like partner or perish, whether you have to partner with Amazon or whether you partner with somebody that you meet, either way, it's good to, like you said, leverage and help each other out to, really come together to make something awesome. So,
yeah, I think that's, in this day and age, collaboration is so important. I share this sometimes when I speak to people is, if you rewind 20 years ago, we were in this kind of stage of what I would class as a transactional economy. Businesses were based on transactions. It's like, I pay for this, you give me that. And there are a lot of people who still operate in that way with that mindset. But the problem with that mindset is we're not in that world anymore. You look at the world now and you have like Uber, Booking.com, Alibaba. The Uber doesn't own any taxis. Booking.com doesn't own any hotels, as far as I know. Alibaba doesn't own any stock whatsoever. Yet they're the biggest in their marketplaces for what they do. And how do they do it? Collaboration. It's like, let's collaborate. And you can take it a step further because this is joint with the conversation about networking. I don't see anybody as competition. Even if they do exactly what I do, I don't see them as competition. I jumped on a call the other day and someone says, I do Kajabi. I'm like, cool. What do you do with the clients who are on different platforms to Kajabi? Because I deal with the other platforms. You can white label my services if you want. I don't mind.
Huh. Yeah, that's so
they're not competent. Even if they literally did exactly what I do and cover everything that I cover, still don't see this competition. I'm like, okay, dude, let's see how we can work together. There will come a point where maybe you've got too much business and you need help. I've got too much business and I need help, or whatever. You're ill, you need something finished off, whatever. There will come a point where everybody can collaborate on something in some way. You just don't know who it's going to be with. So I don't see competition. I just see opportunity in every single conversation that I have.
Yeah. I have the same belief, but mine's a little more arrogant. So I'm like, no one's going to do it like I do it. So there's no such thing as competition. You can't do it like how I do it. Even if we're doing the same thing at the same time, I'm doing it my way and it's better for some reason. Yeah, there's no competition. And I believe that's very powerful. So I'm all about the listeners' success and the listeners just having a better life. So do you have any tips or advice for marketing or networking or anything that we've touched on that could help them be more successful?
Yeah, sure. So I think the most important thing that I have learned is, and this underlies everything that I do, is always be of service to other people. Always, always go out there to serve. If you go out there to serve, you cannot fail because people love people who serve. People love that energy. And so, I used to run my previous business based on ego, based on I just want to make loads of money. That was the truth. I went into it because I just want to make loads of money. I'm going to do every single deal that I can find that makes money because I want to make loads of money.
Yeah.
And it was great. But then after a while, I realized that this ain't for me. This isn't for me. And I've spent the best part of, I spent a long period of time unraveling all the decisions that I previously made because I didn't think about two things. How does it serve people? And what does this look like long term? They're the two questions I always ask myself is how do I best serve people and how do I make long-term based decisions? Because although in the short term we go, well, if I make that decision, then I won't get this client and then I'll never get clients ever again. And my whole business will fold. We have the moments, right? Where we're like, this is the only client. I've got to take them. And sometimes you take them and sometimes it's okay, but it's never great, right? And the reality is you want to get yourself into a position as quickly as possible where you can serve to the extent where you're not concerned about getting clients, where you don't need to get clients, and you're thinking long term about does this client fit into my long term plan? Because when you get them clients, then that when you think about it in that way and you get them clients, they just keep coming back and coming back and coming back and coming back. And even if they don't buy from you, if you think long term and serve them the best that you can, they might become your biggest fan. They might share I've got this guy on Facebook. I've never met him before. He shares my stuff.
Yeah.
He consistently shares my stuff. He never bought from me. He's not a client. He consistently shares my stuff. And every business has this, right? I've had clients where you get a couple of raving fans who never pay for anything, but they always share your stuff.
Yeah.
Free. That's free. That they're paying in their time. You're paying them by giving them great value, and they're paying you by sharing your stuff. And I think that's the key thing is, think long term, always add value. And I'm going to add one more in there is treat every single lead with the same level of respect. Treat every person with the same level of respect. It doesn't matter how much money you've got or what you own. The reality is one day we're all going to end up in a hole in the ground. So that stuff doesn't matter. Just treat everyone nicely, because when you do, whether they become a client or not, that energy you send out into the world will reap you massive, massive benefits long term, and help you to consistently grow your business.
Yeah. Well, that was some nuggets of wisdom right there, man. That was awesome. Yeah. So is the headache automation, or the automation without a headache, is that going to be a thing where you're building the automation for businesses, or is it going to be a thing where you're teaching people how to do it?
So headache-free automations at the moment is where we build things for people or build things with people. Because that's one thing that you talked earlier about. It can be a bit scary. You don't like tech, but you got to automate. You don't know where to start. You don't know what to do first, second, third. You don't necessarily want to learn all these different platforms. Well, hey, we can help do that with you and help you understand what's first, second, third, etc. Or you could be a business where you're like, I know exactly what I want. Just build it for me, Divian. And they can come and get it built. We will at some point have some programs, online programs. Of course, I love automation, so of course I'm going to build online programs for people. Got to do what I preach. But at this moment in time, primarily we serve people by doing it for them or doing it with them to help them through that process of making that happen.
That's cool, man. And I know you're all about the automation. Do you do outsourcing though?
What do you mean by that?
Do you hire, where do you get your staff? Like if you want to add to your, I always think that in order to get real freedom for entrepreneurs, you got to learn how to automate, obviously, but you also got to learn how to outsource and hire people to do a lot of the stuff that you don't want to do, so that you can really focus on the stuff that you love. I was just wondering if you did anything like that, or.
Yeah. So my whole team are a team of people who are outsourced, and it took me a while to find them. Yeah. So obviously you can go down that route and you can outsource. But one of the things that I think it's important to build a team. If you want a substantial business, you've got to build a team, because without a team, you won't build a substantial business. There's only one of you. There's only so much you can do. And although automations can get you to a comfortable income and a comfortable level without hiring people, if you really want to have an impact, if you really want to go out there in the world and create a substantial business, you will need people in your business. So yeah, I certainly do outsource. My whole team are actually outsourced. Some of them are actually my close friends, who now do bits for me. But my core team are all outsourced. I found them over a period of time. We put the right systems in place and the processes to make sure they can do their jobs really well, and they're experts on what they do. Often they're better than me at the thing that they specifically do. Yeah. We can help people a lot of things, and I've got a lot of knowledge of a lot of things because I've done a lot of things in the world of automations. But the best advice when hiring people is hire people who are better than you at what they do. Even if you're great at it, hire people even better than you. It'll make your life easier.
Did you find them through networking, or did you look for them, or did they just kind of fall in your lap, or how did it happen?
That's a good question. A lot of them I found through networking.
That's cool.
Some of them, I did put adverts up to find them, but most of them through networking. I've got a few people who are friends of mine who do stuff for me. Some people who are contacts of other people that I know. And then here's the power of networking, right? I had a contact a number of years ago when I first started, and she put me in contact with somebody, and I didn't do anything about it at the time. And then a number of years later, I saw her on Facebook, and I thought, I haven't connected with her in a while. So I went to the messages, and the very last message she had was the Facebook link to that person's profile. So I clicked on this link, and I was like, oh yeah, I asked her for this. And so I went to that person's profile, and I said, can you help? What do you do? Can you help me with this? They're like, yeah. So they had somebody that they had in their team, and they helped me with that. And now this person I got introduced has become a core part of my team. And what he specifically does is actually talent acquisition. He wouldn't call it that, but it's actually talent acquisition because he knows a lot of people in his country who do a lot of different things. And so I go, I need someone who does this, and he goes and finds me someone who does that. I need someone who does this, and he goes and finds me someone who does that. And
That's
sometimes,
cool.
with any level of outsourcing, you will always get people who don't perform. It's just part and parcel of business. So I know when someone's not performing. I know when they're hiding. I've been got, it doesn't look like I've got grey hairs, but I do have a lot of grey hairs somewhere in there. This is lockdown. We're in lockdown in the UK, so you can't see the grey hairs right now. When I know someone's not performing before they've even got to that point of, the campaign, the what we're building, not getting built, I'm on it and I'm like, find me someone else. Yeah. We're going to need someone else. This person isn't the right person for the team.
That's cool.
So I've got VAs that I outsource work to. Soon I'm about to finally get the old emails off my back.
Yeah, I know.
The pain in the butt, mate. Pain in the butt.
They're so important, but it's just like such a daunting task. I overthink the emails too much. I just need to start busting one out every day. I think that would be a healthy thing. How are you organizing your team? I'm just curious.
How do I keep them organized? So I just used what's the word I'm looking for? It's getting late here, so I can't remember the word. Project management systems.
Yeah.
So I use project management systems and specifically Slack. So I mainly use Asana, Monday.com, and Slack are my main things that I use. I'm about to move to another platform that I bought. I bought this package on Black Friday. Did a really good deal, so I was like, I'm going to get in on that.
Yeah.
It's called Dash Suite, but it allows me to have my own URL, custom branded app that's custom branded as well. And it allows us to have separate client areas to, team areas.
Yeah.
So we can communicate with the client, but we can also have stuff we don't show the client, which to me is super cool because right now clients email, Facebook message, Voxer me, WhatsApp me, text me, call, basically everything under the moon.
Right.
And obviously, I don't necessarily want to put all of my team in front of them. I want to make sure that I'm filtering so that, the clients aren't getting too much communication. They're just getting what they need because effectively that's what they're paying me for, right? To deal with it. So yeah, I'm really excited to move across to that platform and allow the clients to log in and communicate on the platform and not, email to then copy paste into this and blah, 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 so yeah, that Sweet Dash is one I'm about to start using quite soon. I've also heard that, what's the platform called? Dubsado. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I feel like I've heard something like that. Yeah.
Is very good for if you've got clients who, getting outsourcers and then you're delivering for clients. That's a very good platform for that as well, I've heard. But ultimately, any CRM, here's one thing I do want to share about this actually, because this is really important. And I used to do this, especially if you're somebody who loves tech, is we can easily spend so much time focusing on what's the best platform, which platform, researching the platform, test this one out and that one out and all this stuff. And I used to do so much of this is partly why I understand tech so well, because I've used so many platforms just because I love testing things out. But really, the best way to pick a platform and pick a tool is to first just use the free stuff, go really simple, a Google Sheet, a Google spreadsheet, a Google Doc, whatever, something super simple, and start the process. And then when you understand the process with your VA or whatever outsourcer you're using, once you understand the conversation you're having, the process that's going on, and you can start to systemize that a little bit, get a bit of a flow going, and you've done it a number of times, that's the point at which you go, which platform do I want to use? I picked a platform out on Black Friday based on the fact that I'd been doing this for such a long time with just free software.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, it's time to move over to paid software where I can manage the time a little bit better and manage the team a little bit better. But I definitely wouldn't have done that at the start. Keep it simple. Just keep it real simple. Spreadsheet, Word, Google is the best. Google's amazing. Google Docs, Google. You don't even have to pay for it. It's free,
Yeah. I think my favorite quote was something like, nobody cared what the typewriter that Edgar Allan Poe used, just the work, what comes out, so don't fall in love with this software, that software, just figure out one that works, that's going to make it as easy as possible for you. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate you coming on the show today. Why don't you tell everybody kind of the best links and the best places to get in contact with you?
Of course. So you can go to headache-freeautomations.com, and there you can download my 6 automations you need to grow your business in the next 60 days. Really simple page. Just go there, download it, and that's it. That's all you can do on that page. It's just got the title, and that's it. So headache-freeautomations.com is where you can go and download my free guide. And by the time this goes live, the guide will also be ready, because it's not quite ready right now, but it will be ready by the time you listen to this.
Yeah.
And so that's one place you can go. You can find me on Facebook, Divian, just search Divian Mistry and Headache-Free Automations. Same on Instagram and the same on LinkedIn. So wherever you want to come find me, just type in Divian Mistry or Headache-Free Automations and you'll find me, and we can connect. And so if you specifically are listening to this going, I actually need to automate something in my business now, then I've set up a link. Go to headache-freeautomations.com/talk. And there is a calendar link where you can book in to actually have a conversation with me. If you're like, you know what, I need to get moving with this. Go there, book in a conversation. Let's jump on the phone and we'll see what the best solution is for you.
Well, man, it's been just an awesome time talking to you. I really appreciate it. I think everybody listening definitely wants to get automated now, and definitely got a lot of golden nuggets. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much, Robert. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and until next time. Bye.